A millionaire family was falsely accused of leaving without paying their $275 bill at an Italian restaurant. The owner of the establishment threatened to call the police if they didn't pay up, but after checking the surveillance footage, it turned out the family had already paid. So what did the owner do next? You won't believe it. It all happened at a very popular seafood restaurant in Italy called Al Pesi. It's located in a beautiful part of the country where many tourists come to enjoy the gorgeous views and fresh catches of the day. In fact, many people have been coming here for decades because it's been around since 1968. Of course, with so many customers over the years, some are bound to be more difficult than others. And that was definitely the case for one family from America. The millionaire family came into the restaurant just like any other. They were excited to try this famous eatery and get their hands on some delicious Italian food. The family consisted of 4 members, a husband and wife, as well as their 2 children, who were still pretty young. Little did they know that they would soon become the center of attention for all the wrong reasons. They sat down at a table outside the restaurant, which gave them a perfect view of the ocean. However, it also meant that they could be seen by everyone walking past. As they looked over the menu, they knew they were in for a treat. This place specialized in fresh fish dishes, but they also had plenty of options for those who weren't big fans of seafood. The husband decided to start off with a bottle of red wine, which cost him $30. His wife wanted something a bit more refreshing, so she opted for a glass of white wine, which only cost her $9. For appetizers, the family shared a plate of fried calamari, which cost them $14. The kids wanted something a little different, so they ordered a caprese salad for $13. The family was enjoying themselves immensely. The food was great and the service was even better, but they had no idea what was about to happen next. After finishing their meal, the family asked for the check. When it arrived, they saw that their total was $275. It wasn't cheap, but they were willing to pay for the quality food and service they received. However, they were in for a huge surprise. When the father went inside to pay the bill, he was told that the payment terminal wasn't working. He had no choice but to go back home with his family and wait until the next day when they could come back and pay. But the owner of the restaurant refused to accept this arrangement. In fact, he became so angry that he started yelling at the family, accusing them of trying to skip out on their bill. The father tried to explain that he would be back the next day to pay, but the owner wouldn't have it. He continued to yell and scream, making the whole family feel humiliated and ashamed. The father had enough. He paid the $275 and left the restaurant without saying a word. He couldn't believe how rude and unprofessional the owner was. The owner, on the other hand, was feeling pretty good about himself. He thought he had taught the family a valuable lesson. But the next day, he was in for a huge surprise. The family never showed up to pay their bill. He waited all day, but they didn't come. He checked the surveillance footage and saw that they had left without paying. He couldn't believe it. He had been scammed, and he wasn't going to let it go. He immediately called the police and told them about the scam. He gave them the family's license plate number and they set off to find them. But the police were unable to locate the family. They had vanished without a trace. The owner was furious. He felt like he had been robbed and he wanted revenge. He took matters into his own hands and started calling every hotel in the area. He wanted to find the family and make them pay, but he was unsuccessful. The family had booked their hotel under a false name and the owner was none the wiser. Days turned into weeks, but the owner couldn't let it go. He was determined to find the family and make them pay. He even hired a private investigator, but he came up empty-handed. The owner was starting to lose hope. He had spent thousands of dollars on the investigation, but it was all for nothing. He decided to take a break and go for a walk. He needed some time to clear his head. As he was walking, he saw a familiar face. It was the father from the family that scammed him. The owner couldn't believe his eyes. He immediately started following the man. He wanted to confront him and get his money back. But the owner was in for another huge surprise. The father had no idea that the owner was following him. He was going about his day as usual. The owner followed him for hours, watching him from afar. He wanted to make sure that the man wasn't leading him on a wild goose chase. Finally, the owner decided to make his move. He followed the man home and confronted him at his doorstep. The owner was demanding his money back, but the father wasn't giving it up without a fight. The two argued for hours, but the owner was determined to get his money. He wouldn't take no for an answer. Finally, the father had enough. He invited the owner in and showed him the surveillance footage. The owner couldn't believe his eyes. The footage showed that the family had actually paid the bill. The owner was shocked. He couldn't believe that he had been lied to. He apologized to the family and offered to pay for the damages, but they refused. The family didn't want the owner's money. They just wanted him to learn a valuable lesson. The owner was embarrassed, but he was also grateful. He had learned a valuable lesson about judging others. He had jumped to conclusions and accused the family of scamming him without any evidence. He had been so focused on getting his money back that he didn't even bother to check the surveillance footage. The family was happy that the owner had finally seen the light. They didn't want to hurt him, but they also didn't want him to get away with lying. The family had come to Italy for a relaxing vacation, but they had no idea what they were in for. They had been falsely accused of scamming a restaurant out of $275. The owner had been so determined to get his money back that he had gone to extreme lengths. The family had to spend hours arguing with the owner and providing evidence of their innocence. They had also missed out on several days of their vacation. The family was unhappy with the way they had been treated, but they were also relieved that it was finally over. They had learned a valuable lesson about traveling in Italy. If you ever travel to Italy, be prepared for anything. Don't assume that everyone is honest and trustworthy. Be sure to check the surveillance footage before jumping to conclusions. Don't let yourself be taken advantage of. The owner of the restaurant had learned his lesson the hard way. He had lost thousands of dollars in the process. But at least he had learned a valuable lesson. Hopefully, the story will serve as a reminder to others that not everyone is as honest as they seem. Don't let your guard down when you're in a foreign country. Stay sharp and be careful of the people you trust. We hope the family was able to enjoy the rest of their vacation in Italy. They definitely deserved it. What would you have done in this situation? Let us know in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. We would really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we hope to see you again soon.